XJ Talk Show.
It's on.
Now. Hi guys, my name's Tony. It's Mudderoy on xjtalk.com. This is the talk show brought to you by xjtalk.com. And you guys out there in the chat room, let me know if the audio is too loud. I turned it up a little bit based on what Rini was saying. How's the audio to our Ustream audience? Sounds gray or greasy. Great. Okay, thank you, Brian. Rini just called me God, so that must be good sound. Oh, he corrected it. He said good. As I mentioned, my name's Tony. I have the great pleasure of being one of the admins on xjtalk.com. And it's a lot of fun. We talk about Jeep Cherokees. We give each other a hard time. And we pick on Wayne in New Zealand. He's a kiwi, which is a small furry fruit. And we love him. Yeah, like a family, exactly, Dalton. If you're listening to the podcast, you're missing out on some of the fun that we have in the chat room during our live broadcast. This show is broadcast Wednesday evenings at 8 p.m. Central Time. Central Time is also known as God's Time. All time should be God's time. We all should be on God's time. Dalton, do you have red hair? Hey, Chris. Thanks for joining us. Chris, Oside Chris, is a fellow chat room attendee of Alison Rosen is Your New Best Friend. That's a really fun show also on Ustream. This idea of having this Ustream show isn't an original idea. I've been watching Alison Rosen on that show for a while now, and it's a hilarious show. I've mentioned it to you guys on the website before. It's usually on Sunday evenings at 6 p.m. or 6:30 p.m. Houston time, Central Time, God's Time, as I mentioned before. You should try to catch that. It's really a lot of fun. And she's much better looking than I am. She's better looking. Okay, so let's see. I heard a beep. That didn't sound very good. Anyway, we're going to make some phone calls today. We have 3 people that have agreed to be victims on the telephone today. 3 members. They're also local members, local Houston members. And looking forward to talking to them on the phone. First off, I'm very happy to say that we have some actual sponsors for the XJ Talk Show. And, well, without further ado, here's our first sponsor. This segment brought to you by DetoursUSA.com. 10 years of innovating, not imitating XJ products. Check out www.DetoursUSA.com. And Detours wants to remind everyone to practice safe sex. No pig borking till you wrap that rascal. Thank you. I want to thank Mark for being an advertiser on XJ Talk Show. He's also a vendor on xjtalk.com. And provided, for a fee of course, the front and rear bumpers on my Jeep. Sorry. I kept giggling when I was adding the sound effects to the ad. Mark dared me to. That was Mark's actual words that I read. So he dared me to put that on there. So there it is. I hope you enjoy it, Mark. Welcome, Trap Dog. All right. Well, let me see. I'm a little, as I mentioned on the pre-show sound test, I'm a little out of it today because around 3:30 or so, I had to go help my wife. She spun out in a rainstorm and hit a inside wall on I-10. So I had to go out there and deal with the record driver and so on and so forth. And I may talk about that a little bit more here in later on the show. Not really happy with the record company. Record driver was very nice, but I think he basically screwed me. And at least it was after Christmas. So let's see. Let me throw this in.
xjtalk.com.
xjtalk.com.
It's where you go when you're not off-road.
And I need to check on something because that beep I think was actually a server rebooting, and I want to make sure that it's not causing a problem. So you guys bear with me here a second. I'm going to play a little music. Well, I had closed my closet door to my server rack because I didn't want the noise coming in from the fans from the servers, and I thought I heard a server reboot, and I'm a little concerned about it getting too hot. So I've opened the closet door. If you hear the background noise, sorry, I'll have to try to work that out as we go further in these weekly podcasts. Okay, so other than the screwing I got today by the tow truck driver, I really don't have a colorful yarn. Well, I probably do, but I'm a little wound up about that. So before I start on that, I think what I'll do is go ahead and get some people on the phone. Which means this is our XJ Talk live segment. And a little promo for that, and it sounds something like this.
Somebody's calling.
Somebody answer the phone.
It's an XJ Talk live phone call. Okay, so that my girls thought that was pretty funny. I get the giggles sometimes when I start doing some of these things. Okay, Jim, get ready to answer your phone. Somebody answer the phone. Now, this worked great in rehearsal, so hopefully it will work as well now. It's not doing it. Try it again. Wonder if I dialed all the numbers. I think Jim has a regular phone number, not an irregular phone number. Although that would make sense if he did. Okay, it's dialing now. Hello, Big Jim.
Hello?
Hey, hopefully this is Jim. You didn't give me a crank number or anything, did you?
I don't think so.
Well, Jim, thanks a lot for being on the show tonight. If you didn't already get the information from the pre-show, you do need to turn your computer down. Otherwise, you're going to get a lot of echo back from listening to it over the phone and through your computer.
It's all turned down, buddy.
Good. So, Jim, what's up? Have you broken anything recently?
Nothing that I didn't break on accident.
You broke it on accident? Okay, nothing on purpose. I got you.
Yeah.
Well, that's always a good thing. So what's going on with your Jeep? I noticed you got the whole thing painted.
Yeah, I finally got it all painted. Of course, I've got it all scratched up again already, too.
Really? You've already been out?
Okay.
I must have missed it.
I take it out whenever I get a chance. When it's broken.
A little louder. Are you guys not hearing Jim okay?
I hear me okay.
Jim hears himself okay. Brian says there. Maybe you're just not talking as loud. I'll turn it up a little bit. You guys let me know if Jim gets too loud.
If I get too much louder, I'll get kicked out of my own house.
Mugby says can't read. I can talk better than I can read. Sounds fine to me. Him, yes. You, not so much. Okay. I can turn the whole thing up, guys. I just didn't want it to be horrible like it was last week. There we go. I turned it up quite a bit more. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Brian says, wow. Is that too loud, Brian? Sounds good. You know, I don't know what happened last week. I don't know why it was sounding so bad. Hey, Glenn, thanks for joining us.
Sounded great to me last week.
Well, the podcast turned out okay. The Ustream thing was just really distorted. So I was just really embarrassed. I didn't actually listen to that until a day before yesterday, I believe, and then I got busy trying to find out why it was messed up. So tell us about your Jeep, Jim. There's people on here that have no idea, don't know anything about your Jeep, because we do have people on that are not members on the site and haven't read any of your posts. So what year Jeep and what have you done to it, et cetera, et cetera?
Well, it's a 92 Cherokee. It's got a 6.5-inch rough country lift, 33-inch Mud Kings on it.
And those are the 12.5 wide Mud Kings, right?
Yeah. Used to be maroon. It's now an olive drab green color. Of course, everybody knows green is the best. And
there's a theory about that. Yes, I don't necessarily agree with that, but yes, there's a theory that green is the best.
Yeah.
Green could also be a sign of fungus, Jim.
True, and there may be some fungus in there too. I've wheeled in some pretty nasty mud holes.
Do you use the pool noodles like Rini does on his?
Oh no, I'm more than happy to just let the mud come in.
Be one with nature.
Of course. Naturally, all my drain plugs are gone, as well as my carpet. And now that my roof rack is gone and the holes are still open, my headliner's pretty much gone.
Oh no.
Oh, it's a Jeep. It's supposed to get all nasty and muddy.
Well, you can. Are you planning on just taking out all the interior and maybe putting some roll-on or spray-on bed liner?
Well, the headliner's coming out to put the cage in it because I do get a little crazy off-road.
I didn't know you were going with a cage. That ought to be really nice.
Yeah, I found a local buddy here that wants to do it for free just to get some advertising, so I'll be plugging him a lot when it's done.
Well, tell him to come over and advertise on xjtalk.com. I mean, $5 a month ain't bad.
Oh, that's for sure. I sure will tell him. But, yeah, I like to go a little crazy, so definitely going to put a cage in it. Need to get a winch one of these days, but as long as I keep going with Rene, I guess I don't need to buy one since he has one.
That's true.
He's definitely pulled me out of some deep holes before.
Mud holes, you mean?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Hi, guys. I just turned on the webcam so people could see me.
I see you there.
Are you
of course, I've seen you before, so
are you reading
nothing new.
Are you reading the chat room?
Oh, yeah.
So you've got the 6.5-inch lift, you've got the 33-inch tires, 12.5 inches wide. Everything, you're ripping the interior out because you're going to get a free roll bar, a free cage system, and I'm sure it's internal, right? Okay.
Yeah. Personally, I don't see the point of an exo cage. What's the point of, trying to save your body work if you throw a cage over the whole thing? But that's just me.
Yeah, I don't know. It kind of looks cool, but personally, I wouldn't mind having an internal cage. I think that would be really nice. The paint's gonna be messed up. You're gonna be, crunching some stuff, but the cage is really meant to protect the occupants, not the body work. So
I bought my Jeep purposefully to go off road and get beat up, and that's why I have so much fun with it.
Well, that makes sense because you and Rini go about any place somebody says, "Hey, can you go through that mud hole over there?" And it's either you or Rini jumping into it.
If there's somebody pull me out, I'll give it a shot.
Well, I like pulling people out. I don't like going through that stuff. Now, I still maintain I'd love to have a buggy or just a beater. I think a beater would be a lot of fun, but I'm not taking my 98 through stuff like that.
Right now, my XJ is my daily driver. So.
Yeah, that would be a hard thing for me to do, especially since it's new. Brian says mud tears up junk. It does? I just must not have gone enough to get it tore up.
My Jeep doesn't stop squeaking until I get some mud in it.
That makes sense. Now you have full leafs in the back, right? They're not add leafs?
No, I have 4.5-inch leaf springs and 2-inch shackles.
Because my add leafs that I had on mine before going to the full leaf springs would squeak. I hated that, especially during the winter. It would get real squeaky. I'd spray
on mine. On mine, it's the Rough Country X-Flex X-Flex bushings on the front that squeak. I've tried every kind of spray on them imaginable, and they just will not quit squeaking. When
you installed them, did you grease them?
Yeah, and I've greased them many times since then, but they just won't quit squeaking.
I guess it's. I guess they were going for functionality and not aesthetics.
Yeah, I mean it flexes like crazy, but it squeaks like crazy too. But like I said, once I get some mud in there, it quits squeaking nice.
Well, that's a good reason to be in the mud quite often then.
I don't care how bad it's broke. If it'll move, it'll be in the mud.
So you did say the plan for the internal cage. Anything else? I mean, that's quite a bit that on its own, but
actually, I'm pretty satisfied the way it is. I mean, I'd like a cage and maybe to re-gear it, but I don't want to build it much more because then it's not as much fun. If you can go over everything, there's no challenge. So I like there to be some challenge. I mean, IROC, Unimog axles and all that stuff would be nice, but then you can make it over everything. There's no fun to that.
Yeah, I guess so. I think it would be kind of cool to have something that would go anywhere. And then I could see how starting over, there's always the thrill of the build. So
true. But when I finish building one, I usually sell it. So I never want to call this one finished because I don't want to sell it.
I didn't realize that. I know that you had talked about some of the other type builds that you've done. I didn't know that you just basically flipped them and.
Well, the amazing thing is I've done everything. I've done low riders, muscle cars, four-wheel drives, but I've never met a better group of people than when I started building Jeeps.
Well, that's interesting. I know that whenever I had my 72 Nova with the 327 in it, it was seemed like everybody just wanted to race, and everybody. I mean, that was kind of the reason for it, but there wasn't a lot of conversation, friendship. It was more rivalry than anything else. And maybe maybe the nature of the Jeep is you don't go off road unless you got a buddy with you, and you need to be friendly with your buddy, otherwise he might not pull you out. He may just stand there and laugh at you.
True. Yeah, and I've done the race car thing too. It's just the people I've met with Jeeps are just amazing people. They're easy to get along with. There are a few a-holes around that like to wheel their money instead of their Jeeps I don't get along with, but
right.
For the most part, I get along great with Jeep people.
Well, I don't know. Maybe, like I said, maybe it's just the nature of the type activities that the Jeepers do. There's always unsavory people in any hobby or group. So.
Oh yeah, I've met them too on the Jeep trails.
Yeah, it seems kind of strange. I guess you get a mindset that you're unstoppable, you don't need help, and you get out there on the trail and act that way. It just seems like a bad plan to me, because I think
always need help.
Yeah, I think everybody's.
I don't care what I'm doing.
I think everybody is going to get in trouble sooner or later. If you don't, you're not pressing yourself. You should have come out to Huntsville with XJRat and I and his son and his son's friend. That was an interesting experience. I don't know if you saw the video that I put up on the ATV races.
The pictures and videos were pretty cool, but I ended up having to go to work that day, so couldn't make it out there.
Well, like I always say, it's better to have a job and not be able to go do something than have all the time in the world and no money to go do it.
I don't know. I hate it when work gets in the way of my wheeling, though.
That's why we all need to win the lottery, so we can just wheel and have fun, not have to worry about stuff. I still think there ought to be challenges in life. Without work, I don't guess there would be as many challenges.
True.
Some jobs are more challenging than others, of course.
Yeah, luckily there's no challenge to my job. If they only knew I didn't really know what I was talking about, I'd probably be in trouble.
Well, just don't fall off that roof while you're up there.
I ain't got to worry about falling off. Maybe getting pushed off might be a problem, but falling off, no, it won't happen.
Wow. So I guess that's the part where you're telling somebody that they missed a spot here, or this isn't right, this isn't gonna fly, this isn't gonna pass.
Yeah, them fellas tend to get upset when you tell them they got to do it over again.
Do you explain to them that that's your job, and if you don't find something wrong, somebody's gonna say, Jim, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, they don't really see it that way.
Trap Dog is asking me, is that photo for real? Yes, it is a real photo. It's not really my Jeep on the edge of a mountain. It's a Photoshop.
Yeah, it's a real Photoshop.
But it is a real photo.
So when are you going to take your Jeep out wheeling again?
When I get some sliders.
Some sliders?
And I also need to fix that over.
It's all mud out there. It'll slide.
It was mud. I was in mud whenever I bent the the lower the lower rocker.
True. Well, how about this? You come out there this weekend, and any damage that happens, I'll fix it and paint it.
Oh, no way.
Oh, come on.
It will be bent. It will be bent until it's fixed, and I can't let it leave my sight.
I understand that. Not really. I don't care how much mine is bent.
That's the nice thing about having a vehicle that, it's an older vehicle. It cost, $800 to $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, whatever. And the other part of it is I would like to have a trailer and something to pull it with. And then I think it would just be a lot of fun. Then the only thing I'd have to worry about is when it breaks, getting it back to the trailer.
True. I only paid about $1,200 for mine, and I figure by the time I'm finished, I have about $8,000 in it. And then by then it might be worth, I don't know, $3,000.
Oh, I understand. But it, in my mind, is a lot better than going out and getting like that Toyota that guy showed up at, I think you guys were telling me at Creekside that he showed up with it, and the $40,000 Toyota, and then he put the nice crease down the side of it.
True.
So I'll take an $8,000 trail rig any day, a very capable trail rig any day over a nice $40,000 vehicle that I don't want to take out there. It's bad enough just with this 98 that I have, and I'm really only this way because we bought it new. So I've had it, I've had it the entire time, and I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it trashed.
Yeah, I maybe have $3,000 in my Jeep built the way it is, and I bought my 4-wheeler stock for almost $14,000.
So you have an ATV?
Oh yeah, I have a Polaris 850.
Was watching those races. I've wanted one of those ever since I saw one at a I can't remember if it was Yamaha or Suzuki now. I think it was Suzuki place that my brother-in-law was buying a motorcycle at. Oh man, that thing was beautiful. But I have absolutely no place to drive it. And I have no place to get it to someplace to drive it. So it would just be a complete waste of money. But I'd love to have one. I guess I could put it in the living room and just sit on it and watch TV.
Well, it sounds like, with your wife's wreck this morning, you might need to replace that Mustang with the truck.
I need to replace my bank account with money.
Yeah. I can understand that.
Actually, with that spin was my fault because we put front tires on it, but we couldn't afford to put the back tires on there at the same time. So the back tires, although they passed inspection, were not as good as what they should have been. So I firmly believe that's what made her hydroplane. When you don't have places for the water to get out of quickly, it has a tendency to slip and slide on you.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. When money's tight, you gotta, I was looking at, they had that LifeLock thing commercial on this morning talking about how they can protect your identity. Mine's all protected right now. As soon as somebody runs my credit report, they know they don't want to steal it.
Yeah. Well, with this economy and the way the economy's been for a while, I think there's a lot of people in the same boat that you're in. Well, Jim, I could sit here and talk to you for a lot longer, but I was going to try to keep these segments to 15 minutes, and we've gone well over that just because it was an interesting conversation. I want to thank you a lot for being on the show, and is there anything that you'd like to shout out or say to the guys in the chat room before I let you go?
Just want to say howdy to everybody in the chat room, and want to tell Wayne to leave those midgets alone. But other than that, I guess that's about it.
Jim, we don't judge on xjtalk.com.
That's why I go there.
If Wayne likes the midgets, we're going to leave him alone on it. Oh, one thing I would like to do, and I almost forgot about it. I've been on you guys to call into the voicemail number and leave a message, but the begging and pleading and threatening isn't really getting there. And by the way, that number that you can call and leave questions and comments to be possibly played on the show is 530-675-4102. That's 530-675-4102. You just call. It's only voicemail. Nobody's going to answer. The phone doesn't ring anywhere that anybody's going to hear it. So it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call. Use colorful language if you like, because I can always bleep out the words, and I think it would be pretty funny anyway hearing it that way. So please call and leave questions and comments for the show. Some of you may not be able to get on the show because of the time the show comes on, and you're working or you're in 27 time zones away from here, like Wayne. I'm surprised Wayne's on the here in the chat room today. I guess he's on vacation, or Halls as he puts it. But Jim, thank you again very much for being on the show, and hopefully we can have you on again sometime real soon. But before I let you go, if you would, tell me why you like XJ Talk or why you don't.
Well, I love XJ Talk because you can come on there and post anything you want, and nobody's going to tell you to search for an answer. If they have the answer, they're going to tell you what the answer is. And people on XJ Talk actually wheel their Jeeps. They don't talk about doing it, they do it.
With the exception of me.
Well, I've seen you wheel your Jeep. I don't care what kind of help people give you. I've seen you do it.
Thank you very much, Jim. And hopefully we can get you on the show again if you'll agree to do it sometime.
Hey, I will be on anytime you want me to.
Thank you very much, Jim. Have a very good night.
You too, buddy.
Well, thank you very much, Jim. That was great. I really enjoyed that. Hopefully you guys did too. And hopefully these things will get a little more interesting from the interviewer standpoint as I get better at this. It takes me a while to it takes me a while to get geared up. I made the comment the other day. I forget where it was that I put it, but basically I said that I'm saying a lot, and basically I'm trying to have to relearn how to talk again because I've been married for 18 years. My wife thought it was funny. Okay, so Glen, I think I saw Glen in the chat room. Glen, if you're there and ready to take a phone call, I'm going to, there's XJRat man. Glen, I'm going to give you a call if you're ready. I'm going to call you on your cell line because you broke your cell phone. I thought maybe you were going to get out of being on the call with that when I first started reading that, and it said that you had broke your cell phone. So I'm calling you on your home phone. If I can dial the number and talk at the same time, thank God I'm not chewing gum. Uh-oh, that's not a good sound. Glen, are you trying to tell me something? If somebody's on the phone at your house, Glen, I can go ahead and give Rini a call. I guess he's getting out of the call. No, not necessarily. It's all voluntary. He doesn't have to be on the show. He volunteered. There was no coercing at all. Well, at least this gives me an opportunity to play my my segment promo again.
Somebody's calling.
Somebody answer the damn phone.
It's an XJ Talk live phone call. All right, let's see. Try this number again. Pay attention to what you're doing. Dial the number properly. Nope, it's still busy. So maybe the wife. I don't know if Glen's son lives with him or not. Maybe he's on the phone. So Rini, that means you're up. I'm going to give you a call. Rini is sitting up in his chair, tightening his tie, and getting ready to talk to us on the phone.
Please enjoy this selection while waiting for the person you are calling to answer.
Where the hell was the selection? All I got was a ring.
What's going on, man?
Hey.
I was sitting there watching you, so I knew you were calling me.
What's that?
I said I was sitting there watching you and listening to you at the same time, so I knew you were calling me.
Good. That's the benefit. I was actually going to try to get to you guys and let you know what to expect, and not just out of the blue call, but I figured I could just kind of wing it with the having to go out and deal with the wreck and everything today. By the way, guys, this is Rini Argonard on xjtalk.com. He's actually one of our moderators on the server or on the site, and really appreciate him being on the phone tonight. Thank you for accepting our call and our questions and our razzing, I'm sure.
Oh, I can take it.
So what's up? What's the last I remember hearing is the transmission was leaking, and
Oh yeah, got that fixed.
And there was something else. Was it the power steering that was leaking?
Oh, last time I got it stuck, I took the alternator out. What else did I tear up? I took the alternator out, did the transmission, water pump, all kinds of stuff at one time.
But did you have fun?
Yeah, until I got it out and realized it tore up all that stuff.
You were at Creekside?
Yeah, I was at Creekside. Went through one of the big holes that I don't even think you've seen before. You know where the white, of course, nobody on here will know, but where the White Rock Road is, if you're going down the White Rock Road like we were going to where all that mud was that we were all playing in,
right?
It's to the right of all that.
Well, I was just following you around those two, I think it's 2 times I've been out there. So I went wherever you went, and if you didn't take me there, I didn't see it.
Yeah, no, we didn't go there. Because I knew it was there, but I couldn't find it when we went, and now I know where it's at, which that hole's really, really nasty.
Well, I think the last time we went, they were doing a lot of clearing of the small trees and stuff, and we went out there and drove around the tree stumps a bit. Has there been much more? I don't know when the last time you went was, but has there been much more going on at the off-road park? Is it better or worse?
Actually, last time I was out there, it was a lot more done. They've got all that cleared out now, and we can actually. Rini was only 20 minutes when he broke his Jeep. Actually, I think it was like 10 minutes, but that's beside the point.
God, that's horrible.
Yeah, well, it really was. I put my Jeep out there. We were going through this little trail out there by where they cleared all that land off, and actually stuck a stick through my radiator, like out there, the very first trail we went on.
Well, that stick had to be pretty high off the ground because you guys don't know, Reeney's, you have a 3.5-inch lift on your Jeep and 33s, right? 33-inch tires. Yeah, actually, yes. The all-terrains are 33s, and then the TSLs are a true 33.5 inches tall. So when I have my TSLs on there, I am a true 33-inch tire on there. Right. It makes a big difference. I know. When I first saw you out there with the 33s, it really feels that wheel well. And of course, your bent fender is a testament to how well it fills the fender.
Yeah, what fender? I've pretty much taken the entire front fenders off of it now.
You know, I haven't seen it.
That's on here now. It's a fender eater. Yes, it is.
I've seen pictures, but I haven't seen it since you did the more trimming. And for those of you on here that aren't familiar with what we do with the Jeeps, basically we lift them so that we can get bigger tires on them. And we get bigger tires on them so we get more distance between the ground and the bottom of the differential, which is that big round thing that's in the middle of the axle. So as really the lifting is fun as far as sitting up high and everything, and it's nice if you're going to be going through water, but the only reason for lifting a Jeep is to get bigger tires on. So a common thing that happens with Jeep owners, specifically Jeep Cherokees, it may be the other Jeeps as well, but a Jeep owner will say, a Jeep Cherokee owner will say, hey, I don't think I need more than a 1-inch lift or a 2-inch lift or a 3-inch lift. And for some reason, they come in half-inch increments on the Jeeps. And so Rini got a 3.5-inch lift. And, you know, correct me if I'm wrong here, Rini, but it was basically, I don't need anything bigger than that. I'm just going to run 31-inch tires and do some off-road stuff and yada, yada. And then he puts that on there, gets the 3.5 on there, and he goes out and drives off-road, which we call wheeling. And now you want a 4.5.
Yes and no. When I built the Jeep originally, I built it for a event that Naxtra was putting on, and I wanted to be in 31-inch tire class. So I built the Jeep with that in mind. I put the 31s on there with a 3.5-inch lift. You don't need any more to run 31s. But I always knew I was going to put 33s on it and knew I was going to do fender trimming.
Right.
That was never even a thought. And with my all-terrains, my fender trimming that I did with the 30, when I put them first on, was fine. I didn't hit the fenders at all to speak of with the first trimming. But when I put the TSLs on there, it got the tires were so much taller that I just ate the fenders out of it, so I had to trim more to keep the fenders from hitting so bad.
Right. So I remember you telling me about that because I was giving you a hard time about the 3.5-inch lift when we first went out to Spring Creek. And then you explained that to me about being in that event, which you were in, and didn't you come in?
Second place. Yeah, I sure did.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, second place. So you actually accomplished, and you had the automatic locker in at that time. Is that correct?
You know, I don't remember. I think I either had the locker or I already welded it. I don't remember. You know, because I'm thinking the first time we ever met was out at Spring Creek.
Spring Creek, and you had the automatic locker.
And then the second time we went out there, I didn't have the locker. I'd already taken it out and welded the rear because I got sick of hearing it pop.
Oh, man, that was loud. I was really surprised how loud that was.
Right. So that's the reason I got rid of that. I got sick of hearing that thing pop and decided that, you know, instead of listening to this, I would rather weld the rear end and not listen to it pop anymore. So that's what I did. And I've been running it like that for a year and 4 or 5 months now, and I'm just now getting to the point where the rear end's starting to act up. I'm really starting to notice some bad stuff. Well,
you've had the, the driver's side rear axle or the rear wheel has got the wobbles to it for a while now, right?
Passenger rear axle, ever since I got hit. Okay. That's when it kind of did that.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't, I thought you had done that when you took it off-road. But it's kind of got the little wiggles to it. So,
yeah, no, that was when I got hit.
Okay. So
for all of y'all that don't know or haven't read all the posts that I've posted, I actually took a Toyota out with my Jeep. I had a Toyota running in the back of me, and Geico, of all people, actually totaled my Jeep and gave me my Jeep back in $2,200. So, yeah, that's kind of...
I think I ask this every time. Did it total the Toyota, or do you know?
Oh, yes. Yeah, Toyota was foobarb.
And that was like a Camry or something?
Yeah, it was a new model Camry, like a 07 or 08 Camry.
This is why the government wants to get these Jeep Cherokees off the road, because they just wipe out the new cars.
Well, and also don't forget that I do have aftermarket bumpers on mine. Although my bumpers are homemade, they are very, very, very solid.
They're very solid, and they're bright green, which
Yes, they are bright green.
which is good for at least 50 horsepower.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but okay.
Well, it's good.
They're good for seeing, that's for sure.
Well, the Toyota, the lady in the Toyota certainly saw that. I'm sure she saw that coming up really fast.
Yeah, and of course she used the excuse, my gas pedal stuck. So yeah, you know what? I actually think that car was newer. I think that car was a maybe a 09 or 2010 because it was one of the ones that had the recall stick.
Oh, really?
What year that was?
Wow. It's sad anytime anybody is in an accident, but it's very nice to know that at least with the it's hard to say aftermarket bumpers, but the bumpers that you built, specifically the rear bumper that you built for your Jeep Cherokee, was able to let you just drive home and put $2,200 in your pocket.
Yeah, because I didn't fix anything that had happened to the Jeep. And there was no visual damage whatsoever to my Jeep. You know, a couple little kinks in the rear body, but not enough to even worry about.
Right. Yeah, I was really surprised because I think on the site you had said about the wrinkles and you can see it in the body and they totaled the vehicle. And then when I saw it, it was like, there's nothing wrong with this thing. And then I think you showed me the wrinkles, and I mean, you were looking at that wrinkle like I look at small scratches on my Jeep. You would have to know the Jeep to be able to tell it was there.
Correct.
So
yeah, there's no way in the world without knowing it. And now, as much as I've wheeled it and as hard as I've wheeled it, I'm actually getting to the point where Jim was telling you he's going to cage his. I am doing the same. I've got to the point now where I actually am having issues with my tailgate closing and stuff. I've bent it so much. But for all of y'all that don't know who I am...
From the twisting, going off-road and twisting the body. I got you.
Right. And for all of y'all out here who don't know who I am, I'm the one that, like Jim said, you point me to the biggest, nastiest thing and say, I bet you can't do that. I'm the one that will attempt it.
Oh, Reeney's the perfect person to go wheeling with because he'll go first and he'll wait for you to get your camera ready.
Oh, yeah, I will. I don't mind at all. It's like, take a picture of me stuck. There should be, if I ever put all the stuck pictures I have on here, I would have a thread all of my own. I've stuck my Jeep so many different times in places, it's ridiculous.
Dalton says, you're the Chuck Norris of Jeeping.
Well, I don't know about that, but I'm the Chuck Norris of getting stuck.
Well, getting stuck is a good teacher.
Well, and it's also, I'm not with the winch, you really have a total different outlook on what you'll attempt to do, because with the winch, no matter how stuck you get, you can get yourself out in a bind. As long as there's something there to hook to, you get yourself out. Yeah,
the winch that I have on the Jeep now, I've had a four-wheel drive before, but this is the first winch that I've ever had on a vehicle. And really my first-hand experience with a winch. Winches are just amazing. And for those of you that aren't familiar with the off-road terms, it's winch with an I. It's not a girl. And
No, that's only Wayne's.
Yes.
Sorry, Wayne, you still out here? No, I don't see him talking.
He said something. He says they're still talking. I guess he came back. Wayne, you didn't have an earthquake while we were talking, did you?
Yeah, we need to put him on here.
Yeah.
He's funny to listen to.
Yeah, he is. He has that Yankee accent, though.
Yeah, real Yankee, like from who knows where.
It's so funny whenever I'm chatting or actually talking voice-wise with Wayne, he'll say, that Rini really does talk funny.
Yeah, I know. It's like, okay, Wayne, you do realize you're talking to a bunch of us that live in the same spot, right? All
right. Was there anything else that you wanted to cover? I was going to cut this a little short since we're getting up close to, we're at 8:45 now, and I went a little long with Jim. I was going to get Glen on here before we got too far down the road.
Yeah, no problem. Like I told you before, man, heck, I'll come on anytime. Just give me a call. And, especially for all of y'all that don't know, I've been in auto repair for 20 plus years. I've owned my own repair shop, graduated from UTI.
Uh-oh.
There's something about it I am not above answering. So even on here, if somebody has a question and they need to, maybe me to make a guesstimate at it, just ask. I'm not above trying to answer y'all. So just for everybody's info.
You're kind of in a bad spot with your cell phone, Rini. You need to move just a little bit.
Did I still not catch any of that?
Yeah, most of it, but it was kind of choppy, and at one point you cut out for about 3 seconds.
Oh, lovely care.
That's okay.
What I was saying, anytime, you need somebody on here, Tony, just give me a call, man. I'll be on. I don't mind at all. You know me, I don't mind talking.
Well, I always enjoy talking to you in person, and I enjoy talking to you here. You've always got a wealth of knowledge to share with everybody, as well as you always do on the site. In fact, here recently, you haven't been on xjtalk.com that much, and we miss you. I know I miss seeing you on there, so hopefully we can see more of you on the site.
I posted a bunch of times today.
Good. Well, let me, just like I did with Big Jim, let me get you to do a little plug here for xjtalk.com. If you would, tell me why you like or don't like xjtalk.com.
Pretty much the same thing Jim said. Everybody I've met off the site is absolutely great people. I've met some people now that I consider very good from here, and, I'm same thing. I've never been one to talk on a forum, and on this forum, I pretty much can't shut me up. So, same deal, just like Wayne. I mean, just like Wayne and Big Jim. And this is kind of, if I'm on the web, I'm generally on XJ Talk. So.
Well, I know we really appreciate it, and I'm sure there's several others out there that do too. I know Wayne does because you're a good target of his.
Yeah, I know. He's on here too. By the way, Wayne, you need to be on here so we can hear your great accent.
Well, we're going to get him on through Skype. I bet you if he's still on vacation next Wednesday, we'll get him on here. Because I think it's like 3 coming up on 4 p.m. Thursday, his time. So maybe we can get him on next week.
All right. Well, you go ahead and make some more phone calls, and we will talk to y'all later.
All right, man. Thanks a lot.
All right. Talk to you later, Tony.
Bye-bye. And I did forget to mention the second half of our broadcast term being used loosely, is brought to you by Ironman 4x4. This segment is brought to you by Ironman 4x4, the toughest, most adjustable control arms in the industry. Ironman 4x4 has a wide variety of rugged off-road suspension products that are overbuilt and underpriced. Visit Ironman4x4fab.com today. That's Ironman4x4fab.com. Okay, let me just check here real quick. Glen, is everything a go for the phone call? Are you still there? XJRat. I noticed a little bit ago, Glen said that the phone rang when I called, but it was a call for his wife, and the internet went out at the same time. So I don't know. There may be either some evil entities surrounding Glen's house or some angelic ones. I'm not quite sure. But anyway, let's try giving him a call. You guys let me know if you get tired of hearing this. This is the third time I played it, and I thought it was funny. But, like I said, just feel free to let me know if this is too much.
Somebody's calling.
Somebody answer the phone.
It's an XJ Talk live phone call. And yes, it is. And you can tell it's live whenever you call somebody and you get a busy. And let's see what happens on this call. Calling Glen. That's really quiet.
Hello?
Hi, gotta speak with Glen.
Well, I'm calling to speak with Tony.
I'm sorry?
I was calling to speak with Tony McElroy.
Oh, I'm sorry. Looks like we caught a call coming in. So let's try that again. I bet you somebody could work out the phone number by listening to the tones.
It worked that time.
Excellent. Hey, Glenn, how you doing? This is Glen, XJRat from xjtalk.com, his member ID. Back in the CB days, we would have called them handles.
Yeah.
Let's see. Give me a little audio there, Glenn. I think your audio is down a little bit, and I need to bring it up a bit.
Yeah, you're talking real quiet also. I don't know what it is with the phone line.
Actually, this is the way I have it hooked up. If I turn it up too loud, then my voice will come through the telephone more than it does the microphone. So it's down a little bit. I turned it up a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, it's a little better now.
Excellent. So I recently went up to God, what was the name of that park, Glenn?
General Sam's.
Yeah, I went to General Sam's. I had been wanting to go, but since my Jeep has a tendency to run hot on the highways, I've said I wasn't going to do that anymore. And out of the blue, Glenn offered to give me a ride up there, and it was very generous. It was a lot of fun, and I got to hate your Jeep all the way up there because I kept watching the temperature gauge and seeing it never go over 210 degrees.
Yeah, I thought you were looking at my speedometer.
Nope, I didn't care how fast you went. I was telling my wife about the braking. I think it's something different about not being in control of the vehicle, and I've wondered a few times if you were aware how fast the vehicle in front of us was coming up. But I terrify her in the car when I drive the Jeep, so I figured you knew what you were doing. And after you didn't hit anybody for the first 15, 30 minutes, I just forgot about it.
Yeah, well, look at it on the bright side. The front of my Jeep's undamaged, so...
That was another great selling point. When I got in, there was no damage to the vehicle, and you obviously drove a ways to get to my house.
Other than the other gentleman, I agree with him. The mutters, when they catch the fenders, they just pulled them under.
Oh boy, don't they?
Yep, the super swampers.
Yeah, those were some nice looking tires. I've always been fond of the BFG, the BF Goodrich mutters, but those were some nice looking tires that you had on there, very aggressive looking, and I was really surprised how well they rode on the highway.
Well, I think they ride like garbage.
Well, I guess, I don't know, what do you normally have on there?
Well, like on my truck, I've got Pirellis on it, and that's nice and smooth, whereas the Jeep, you get over 40 miles an hour, it's really howling. And then when you get below 5 miles an hour, it seems like the brakes are rubbing metal on metal, but it's actually the tires. Oh, yeah, that's right. I asked you about that because I thought you had overheated the brakes while we were out there at General Sam's. And my God, I tell you one thing, and I made mention of this on xjtalk.com. Whenever I go off-road, I don't get as aggressive as what you do. And it was really interesting to see because I've only ever been off-roading in my vehicle and in control of my vehicle. So other than watching somebody else ahead of me or behind me or standing there and watching somebody go by, I've never experienced it firsthand as a passenger. So that was a great learning experience. And I also learned how far... Glenn has a 1998 Jeep Cherokee just like I do. I can't remember. Do you have a 4.5 inch lift on yours, or is it 3.5? It's 3.5, and then I've also got 3/4 inch spacers up front and lift shackles in the rear. Okay, so it's basically the same size lift I have, and you had 32 inch tires. So basically, we have very, very similar vehicles. So riding along with Glenn, and I now have a better idea of how far how far I can lean to the left or right before it'll roll over, because Glenn didn't roll his, and I figured if you've got to learn how far you have to go before it rolls, it's best to learn in somebody else's vehicle. Sorry, Glenn, but that's just the way I feel about it. Yeah, no problem. And we were really relaxed that day because there was nobody else with us. If there had been another vehicle, I'd have been a little more daring. Yeah, what the hell happened with that? I mean, there was supposed to be 2 or 3 other people going with us? I contacted Scott, XJ4IV, and he said that he had to work. Jim couldn't go because he had to work. And I never did hear anything about from Fireman Ray. And I didn't. I'm probably going to send him a PM or something and ask him what the hell.
Yeah, it was kind of disappointing that nobody else showed up, but it was still a fun day.
Oh, it was a lot of fun. It was a beautiful day out there.
I do have to say, though, they have to be careful at General Sam's. The place is turning into a spring creek. The Bud Light cans are laying everywhere.
Well, my favorite part was where your son had pulled up right there next to a couple of mud holes. And we were standing there eating sandwiches, and a couple of guys, obviously, I think it was all of 10:30 or 11 in the morning, and these guys pulled up on their ATVs, and the first thing they said after they took the beer away from their mouth was, "Are you guys stuck?"
Hey, you need any help? You stuck?
Flat ground, dry, flat ground.
And we're all eating.
Eating. Bag of chips, Cokes. And are y'all stuck? Yeah, we actually we are. We're stuck. Thank you. We didn't realize it until you asked.
Yeah, and then it was kind of funny. After they went through the mud hole, they stopped on the other side and they got out the bottle of Jack Daniels and finished it off.
It was kind of funny too because they said, "Are you stuck?" And it was either right before that or right after that they were asking, "Can I make it through this mud hole?"
Sure, just give it a little gas.
yeah, you did. You said, "Yeah, sure." I'm eating lunch. I'd like to have lunch on a show.
Yeah, free show.
A free show. I don't know if you know about my my personal blog on at muckleroy.com, but I posted I compiled all the ATV mud races that I recorded on the camera. I compiled all those together, and then I wrote a little article about how they were calling for women to come up and expose their bare chests to get a pardon the pun, rise out of the crowd for the film crew that was there. And then about I don't know, 15 minutes later, they stopped the action again to ask everybody to stop using foul language. I loved that double standard because one was
quite sit right.
It didn't sit right with me at all. I mean, I understand it's a public event and things like that happen at the public event. I'm not a prude. I would have preferred some younger, more voluptuous women that they were going to display.
Yeah, the two that did it, they really should have just kept their clothes on.
Well, unfortunately, that's usually real life. The ones that you want them to take their clothes off, they want to be paid in some way, some form.
Yep.
Yeah, Big Jim, you would have enjoyed. I wish you had gone out there with us. You would have enjoyed that. You probably would have mouthed off, and that would have been funny.
Most of the places up there was a lot drier than I'd remembered it in years past.
It was dry.
Yeah, there was a lot of places where you could see that it was muddy a few weeks ago, but
there was some pretty good mud holes. I mean, there was a couple that made us nervous, and we had to get out and check. But it turned out that the bottom wasn't that deep, and it was very solid.
Mm-hmm. No, there wasn't anything that we went through that I would have worried about.
Well, once we got through it, it wasn't bad. I know there was a couple up there that was, it was like, I don't know about this. But there was some really deep ruts out there. And I was also very surprised at how beautiful a day it was. And when we were out there on the trails, we only passed one group. Weren't we out there like 2 or 3 hours driving around?
Yeah, it was surprising to me too. We didn't see anybody out there, but maybe that one group on the backside by the fence, they were just sitting there. I guess they were eating lunch.
Right. Then there was a lot of people there, and I think there was even 3 Cherokees that we saw.
Yeah, those ones up front. Maybe we should have just stopped and talked to them, see what they were up to.
Yeah, I had some xjtalk.com cards with me, and I should have suggested that. I was just kind of I don't know, hungry mostly. Well, that barbecue they had at that place really smelled good.
Yeah, I could understand.
Well, Glenn, it's 9 o'clock, which means it's been an hour, and I'm sorry we didn't get you on here until late. But things happen during a live show. It makes it interesting. It's not not a well-oiled machine, at least not yet. And like I did with Rini and Big Jim, if I could get you to say something about why you like or dislike xjtalk.com.
Well, one thing I like about that website is compared to some of the other ones, if you post an idea, people don't put you down right away. Even it gives them a direction to look at, but somebody, if you post something, it might be good for 100 people. Well, on that 101, the 101st one, it doesn't work, and somebody spouts out right away, oh, no, I've had this, and this. I like it that people are open to suggestions.
I know I always try to be. The majority of what I know, I've read, and I try to regurgitate it and learn, and I try to make it clear if I've had a personal experience with this or I've learned it through reading either on my forum, xjtalk.com, or on one of the other ones. Somebody mentioned naxj.org earlier, very good forum, lots of people there. But that, among some of the other XJ Talk forums, was the reason why I started xjtalk.com, because I do not like people being told, search before you ask a question. It's a forum. That's the reason why it's there. Ask questions, share information, not a place so that somebody that, I don't know, has been belittled by their boss, their wife, their neighbor, or whatever, to come on there and take it out on people that are hundreds or thousands of miles away.
I agree with that. If you haven't got something good to say, don't say nothing.
If you're upset because that person didn't search, there's no reason for you to go on there and about it. Just ignore the post. Move along.
I understand what you're saying.
So that's a very sore spot for me, and that is the number one reason why I started xjtalk.com, is so that I could control that. I guess that's kind of control freakish, but I wanted to have the ability to stop that. And anytime that happens, which it doesn't happen very often, the whole feel of the site seems to have come through. I'm very surprised about that, because I don't like putting my finger down and saying this is what we're going to do, or so on and so forth. I do make it clear about that, but that's my one rule. Everything else is wide open. And of course we have the no nip rule. So anytime anybody posts any pictures of women, no nips. You guys remember that. And that's not a racial slur. I think we all know what I'm talking about. Well, Glenn, we're running over a little bit, which is okay. I mean, I can do this for as long as I like, but I like to try to keep it around an hour. I want to thank you very much for getting on the phone. It was fun having the technical difficulty. Like I said, it's a live show, and it's fun when things don't go exactly right. Like whenever I was trying to call you just now and picked up a call for me, and I have no idea who that was. It was probably a bill collector.
Well, she sounded a lot better than I do.
Well,
all right. Well, you have a nice evening, Tony.
Thank you very much, Glenn. Have a good night.
Night.
Bye. Well, guys, I've kind of come to the end of the show. I played our two vendors, our ads for tonight. In fact, let me just play that again real quick. I think, I don't know about you guys, but I'd like to hear the Detours one again. I thought it was pretty funny. This segment brought to you by DetoursUSA.com. 10 years of innovating, not imitating XJ products. Check out www.DetoursUSA.com. And Detours wants to remind everyone to practice safe sex. No pig borking till you wrap that rascal.
XJTalk.com.
XJTalk.com.
It's where you go when you're not off-road.
This is Brian XJ, just calling in to tell you that we really like the website, full of a lot of tech and a lot of good people. I always get a response back quickly. Thanks. Have a good day.
And thank you for calling in to the voicemail, Brian. That's Brian XJ. He's in the website, in the chat room tonight. And he called our voicemail, our 24-hour by 7 days a week, always available, always willing to accept your call. And you can just call us anytime you like, if I didn't make that clear, at 530-6
530-675-4102. 530-675-4102. Call and leave a message. If you would, first name, your location, and not bathroom or in front of the television in the living room. Physical location, city, state would be really good, especially if you're out of country. I love getting people from all over the world, although I do understand that might be a long distance call, and I certainly don't expect you to spend the money to call the voicemail. But if you can, I'd appreciate it. I love playing the little the comments, and I think we used this one last time, but let me throw this one up here because it's a real good message.
Hey, Tony and XJ Talk users. This is John, pre-runner 1982. I have a non-technical question for everyone that will hopefully spur some conversation. So what is everyone's favorite modification to their rig and why? I look forward to hearing everybody's responses. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have played that one before. And that would be a good one for the website since we're coming to the end of the show. And I got one more to play from Steve, 4.3LXJ.
Hey, I just wanted to tell you about xjtalk.com. It's a great site. There's no bashing. Everybody's nice and friendly. Great place to be.
Thanks a lot, Steve. And those were some voicemails I got through begging and pleading, and they were good enough to provide them for me. And if you guys would like to, I'd appreciate it because it gives me something to play on the show, and it also gives the idea of what we try to do on xjtalk.com, which is we have a community. We have a group of people that enjoy talking about a variety of subjects. Certainly Jeeps are the main reason why we're there, Jeep Cherokee specifically. And it's fun. And that's the whole reason for it existing, is fun. So guys, I think that ought to do it for tonight. The hour flew by with the 3 phone calls that we did. It really went quick, and I really enjoyed it. Maybe we can get more people on the phone. I certainly want to get Wayne in New Zealand on Skype and interview him. It would be great to have him live, and he could answer some questions. So thanks again. Don't forget that you can listen to this on the podcast. xjtalk.com/podcasts.php. That just kind of rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? Also, too, the show is also available on the website now. You can watch the show live on xjtalk.com. If you go to the home page, you'll see that there's a little window on near the upper left-hand corner of the screen, and I should be in it right now. It should say xjtalk.com and have a little bitty picture in a picture playing in that little video area. And just below that is a link that you can click on, and it will take you to a full-size or a larger video window and the chat that you're in. So I've been, with the days off that I've been having, I've actually gone through and done a few things to hopefully make the experience a little better and a little easier to find. And the really neat thing about going to that page that I set up is you have the XJ Talk chat right above it. So you can have 2 chats going at once. Anyway, guys, thank you very much. Enjoyed it, and have a good rest of the week and a very happy New Year.